The GMC Terrain gets an all-new generation for the 2025 model year, and in this video I'm going to show you the exterior, the interior, go over the specs that we know so far, and cover these three new trims. So that's the biggest change here, is that we have no more SLE and SLT trims, and instead we now have an elevation trim at the bottom of the lineup, and then you go up to this new AT4 and also the Denali. And so I'm going to give you an in-depth look at all three of these. So let's start off with the AT4 here. All right, so here is the AT4 version. So of course a more rugged look, a little more off-road capability than the Elevation off there in the distance and the Denali, which we'll look at in a minute here. But as far as the AT4, so you have a 12mm suspension lift. You also have these all-terrain tires. They're General Grabber all-terrain tires here on these smaller wheels. And I also really like, you know, this little light in the fender there, kind of a cue to the trucks in the GMC lineup. And the whole vehicle in general for these next generation Terrains are more truck-like. You have a bolder grille, more vertical, you know, the hood is a little higher. Everything about it just, you know, gives it this more substantial feel. And for those that are curious about the size difference between the last generation and this one, after I filmed this, GMC was able to provide me with some specifications here. So it's on a 0.2-inch longer wheelbase. It's 1.2 inches longer overall. It's 2.1 inches wider and also 2.1 inches lower than the last generation. So a little bit more, you know, flat there for the roof line and all that. But so, you know, it has gotten a little bit bigger, but it's not wildly different than the last generation. It also has wider fenders. The whole track is wider as well for this vehicle, and so it, you know, looks a little bit bigger as a result, but you know, it definitely amps up the muscle, I think, on the Terrain compared to before. You also here on the AT4 get the red tow hooks. There's also a little skid plate there under the front. You also will get a crawl and terrain mode. There's also hill descent control, and also the fog lights that you see here are also a part of that AT4 package. It's also really cool with the design element. You can see this is an actual pass-through, like a little air curtain for better aerodynamics there as well. So really cool touch. And these lights also do an LED animation on the Denali. Otherwise here you can see you also get two-tone roof options for the first time here on Terrain. And so this one white with the black is a really nice look. I actually really love, I mean, two-tone roofs have always been cool in my opinion, but I think it actually is really well executed here. Looks really nice in combination with the black fender wells. And coming out to the back here, you'll see the taillights are a little shorter than before, but they're, you know, stretched out, again emphasizing that width here in the back end. And I think it's actually a really nicely done back end. And again, just I think it looks, you know, really aggressive, a lot more, you know, adventure ready, and just looks very cool. So this one, we're not gonna be able to go too close on the inside here, but just checking out from the surface here, all the Terrains are gonna have the same basic stuff, which I'll show on the Elevation here in a minute. But you're gonna get the 11-inch driver information screen. You also have a 15-inch touchscreen there, and you can also see here with the lighting is really good. You can see there's a pass-through there underneath the center console now, in addition to the other storage spaces. And AT4, of course, gets the unique seat trim here. The seats are also more comfortable, they say. They're a little bit wider than before, so all to help with giving you a little bit of extra comfort. But let's come over to the Elevation here so we can check out the interior a little more in depth. But for Elevation, you can see, again, not quite as high off the ground there. This one does have optional 19-inch wheels. You will get 17s as standard. This is also the black edition of the Elevation trim, so this gives you, you know, all the stuff that would be chrome, like you can see on the Denali over there on the around the headlight area and stuff. It is just black here instead for the grille surround, all that. But I mean, again, this is the base trim, and there's also more standard equipment than before, but still looks really nice, and still, you know, it's just a very well equipped base trim. I mean, obviously GMC's kind of start a little higher up, you know, being a, you know, premium brand, but you can also see this one, another example of the two-tone. You have black with silver here, which is, you don't see silver roofs too often. I really like that. I think it really pops with the black roof rails there, which are fully functional, and you kind of see a little bit of this, you know, blade kind of thing you see from other GM products, kind of a similar design, and just a really cool look here. I think, again, did a really good job, and looks extra stealthy here with the black edition for this one. But let's hop inside. You can see nice big pockets in the doors, some nice textured plastic here on the Elevation. But again, still very well equipped for a, you know, base model, to have all the tech as standard and still have, you know, these nicely perforated Leather seats, still really, really great. All the power adjustments. These seats are also heated as standard, so really high feature content. Have heated seats as standard. That used to be, an extra cost option. Now it's standard. You also get a heated steering wheel standard. That's another thing that a lot of companies make you go for like a top trim to get a heated steering wheel, but on this it is standard even on this base elevation, which is great. You also have standard remote start, and again all the screens, which we will go ahead and fire up here. So there is the big 15-inch touchscreen. It's a slightly smaller version of the screen you see in other GMCs where it goes up to like a 16.8-inch display, but in this, still plenty of screen real estate. Obviously still does have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto as well, but then you can also go, if you want to just have Google Maps up and have your audio and all that, you can have all those things there, and it's a really pretty snappy system. You have the Play Store built in, Google built in, so if you want to do any kind of Google Assistant stuff or download your own apps, like this one has Waze, Spotify already just built in, so you don't need to use that smartphone tethering if you don't want to, and have the integration right there in the infotainment system. It all is up to you here, and it's really great that the gas-powered GM vehicles still continue with the smartphone integration there as well. It's also great how you still have the row of physical toggles here, so you can change your climate, whatever you want to do here, nice and easy. And these all feel really nice too. They have a rubberized coating to them and some nice trim here, and so really well done as far as all that goes. And here is that digital gauge cluster, and again, familiar. I just covered this in the Acadia on that drive event recently, but has just the few different looks here, so you can have Google Maps if you want, or more of your driver assistance stuff, which, by the way, this has a ton of driver assistance stuff as standard, including not only automatic emergency braking, but also intersection automatic braking, side blind zone assist with steering assist. I mean, all these things. Adaptive cruise control is also standard, another high dollar option not long ago, and now every Terrain gets adaptive cruise as standard. So I mean, this is why the elevation trim honestly seems like the strongest value, and just seems like there's really not a whole lot of compromise here. To have heated seats, heated steering wheel, to have the adaptive cruise, all these things are really nice touches, all the same tech. And I also love how you still have air vents right up top here, but yet this doesn't come up super high or anything. It's nicely integrated with this screen. It's not like other screens where they just tack something on. This is a little bit of a nicer integration here. Nice trim here on the sides. Now, of course, with the higher trims, you can get some extra features, which I'll show in the Denali in a minute here. But overall, a really nice thing. One interesting thing though with these is front-wheel drive will come standard, but these are launching with all-wheel drive here. But they still have an all-wheel drive button. This is only GM does this, where you have to turn on your all-wheel drive. You can just leave it on all the time if you want. It will still intelligently do its thing, but you can still put the all-wheel drive versions in front-wheel drive mode if you'd like, which is a curious inclusion that they've continued to do that, but that's where that's at if you're ever looking for it. And moving on to the back seat here in the Terrain, give you an idea of the space here. It's really nice. Actually, you also see, look at that panoramic roof. You have, I don't believe that's standard, but that's an option this one has, and you can get it on the elevation here, obviously. And also nice flat floor. Usually this is the kind of thing you see in EVs, but for a gas-powered vehicle to have a completely flat floor in the back is a really nice touch. And so I have good amount of legroom here, and honestly it's a good amount of space for something in this class of vehicle, and so pretty well done there. You also even have heated rear seats. Now that is not standard, but this one must have an option package, again maybe with the black edition or something, to give you the heated rear seats. But heated rears is again a very high-end thing, and to have it here on just the Terrain, the entry point in the GMC lineup, is really cool. You also have two USB-C jacks down there, and again having their own air vents is great. You also have a fold down center armrest here, and with the cup holders built into those. And as far as headroom, good amount of headroom here, even with the glass roof. And really nice interior. Again, the screen real estate and stuff is something that most others I don't think can match in this segment, and so it's really going to wow you from a tech standpoint. But let's check out the hatch. Last thing here for this. You also see there's the camera for the camera rear view mirror, which is also something that you get here on these, and a good amount of cargo space back here. So right in line with what you expect from other vehicles in this segment. And you see nice extra space there beneath the floor, and looks like there is also an indent, I believe, for a spare tire potentially under there as well. But and this even goes further back. It's obviously dark, you can't really see too much, but you know, there's going to be a couple of different levels for that, and a lot of space under there too. So even if that looks like it might not be quite as deep as you'd like, it looks like there's a lot of space underneath there as well. And you can see that they have a power outlet back here, and so yeah, good amount of space. And power tailgate here as well, even in this elevation, and you know, really nice. But let's check out the Denali lastly and see about that one. So on the exterior here, you can see all that extra bright work, the extra chrome, but still a little bit of the black as well, so it gives it a sportier appearance. It's not all chrome up front, but really nicely done there for the Denali. And these also have 19s as standard, 20s are optional. It's the biggest wheel you can get here. And I also like how they still retained the little light here in the fenders. You don't get that on the elevation. Elevation, you can see, just has the matte black you know, fender surround there, but still just really nice. You have the big Denali badges here, and coming around to the back, they also swapped the GMC badge up top for Denali badges. Very bold right at the top there, so everyone knows you're driving the Denali version and the extra prestige that it brings. And yeah, so obviously you see the extra bright work there on the back too, and very nice look there, and even the brushed kind of stainless look there for the roof rack. And again, interior on this one I can't get too deep into, but as far as this, you know, just look of it, you can see you got the dark brown leather here, which is really nice, combined with the light, you know, beige design here. And these are also going to be ventilated seats here on Denali as well, in addition to just the heating. So that is one nice extra touch of these. And another look at, you know, all the bins there. And you also see this wireless charging pad. We'll go ahead and go over the elevation, because it's actually a really nice design, where I forgot to mention that earlier, they have it right at arm's length. It's right there where you would expect it. So you know, you drop your phone in there, it's angled, so it should actually hopefully charge well and stay there. It's rubberized, so a really nicely done integration. And you also do have a very deep cubby. I mean, that goes way far down. I am like elbow deep here in this cubby here, so it's a lot of space in there, so very practical. But again, cup holders, spot up top here, and then again that space underneath that is really long, and it should be pretty easy to get into, as well as reaching the far back part here might be a little tricky, but really well done. Just again, a lot of extra storage spaces, and again, something that a lot of others don't give you unless you go up to a larger vehicle, where they kind of open up those areas. So it's great to see that here trickling down to these lower you know, models. And so yeah, I mean, you know, you have everything, not only just on the Denali, but all of them have some softer materials here for the dashboard. You have the stitching up here. A couple other unique touches here for the Denali version in particular is you get a 360 camera on these, so better visibility when you're maneuvering in tight spots. You also get a premium suspension, they call it, with enhanced ride comfort. So I'm guessing just some suspension tweaks here to give it a more luxurious ride than the other Terrains, and of course also compensate for the larger wheels that you know, you have, especially with those 20s that are available here on this. Is going to, you know, be something they wanted to tune in, but still give you a very luxurious ride here with the Denali. So again, I'll have to drive to compare the Denali to the other trims, but supposedly, you know, they're saying there's going to be some extra comfort there, which is to be expected, of course, for the Denali, and so great that you get that extra little perk too. The last things to mention here are going to be the launch timing and also the powertrain. So this Denali we're looking at here, that's going to be coming 2025 calendar year. Same thing goes for the AT4. Those are both 2025 calendar year, but the Elevation will be debuting here later this year. So this will be the first one to arrive here. If you're anxious to get a Terrain, the Elevation is a great, not only just the entry point, but it's a really great option, you know, to save a few dollars, and still gives you, again, a lot of the same stuff as those higher trims. But of course, certainly there's some extra appeal there for the Denali's luxury features and the extra ruggedness there of the AT4 version. Last thing to mention though is powertrains for these. So they all come standard with the 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Carryover from last generation there. It does 175 horsepower, 203 pound-feet of torque. The big news here is that it's going to be paired up with the 8-speed automatic with whenever you have the all-wheel drive. Whenever you go for the front-wheel drive versions, that will still be running a CVT. but great, you have the 8-speed auto now paired up to this engine, and again, totally in line with others in this segment from a power standpoint. And having the turbo will be great because it gives you more punch around town compared to some others that might just give you a naturally aspirated engine that doesn't have quite as much punch down low as these do. So yeah, looking forward to driving these hopefully at some point here, either later this year or early next. So stay tuned and subscribe for that. But overall, I think it's a really nicely done little redo, and I think especially this AT4 is going to have a lot of appeal from people that are just bored of some of the competitors that are kind of the go-to rugged vehicles in this segment. To have something that's fresh, that's new, that's got great tech, that's really top of the class as far as screen real estate, and again a very rugged, cool look. The two-tone thing, I think there's a lot of appeal to these Terrains, much more honestly than I think it had for the prior generation. So I think they did a great job on these. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on the 2025 Terrains in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe to keep these videos coming, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.